welcome to another episode of Heathered Knits. I am your host, Heather, and I'm really glad that you are taking your time out of your day to join me and chat with me a little bit this week as I talk a little bit about my knitting and what has been going on in my life and all of those things. So thank you so much for returning viewers who are coming back. I always appreciate when you come back and spend some time with me. I thank you so much for all of your love and your support and your encouragement these last, well, really it's been almost a year. Almost like exactly a year. So I thank you so much for that. You guys really have helped keep me moving in the right direction. So thank you so much. For those of you who are coming and checking this out for the first time, welcome. I am glad that you're here as well. I hope that you enjoy this little chat and are enjoying getting some knitting together and get a drink, and we will chat. This is primarily a knitting podcast where I talk about what I'm knitting, but I also bring in things and aspects of my life as well. So if you are interested in that, I save that for the end. It's completely okay. I understand. So feel free to leave after I talk about the knitting. That's completely okay. So today is a Sunday, July 18th, and I am coming to you from my apartment in mid-Michigan, where I live with my two children, Abby, who is 15, and Philip, who is 11. So we are here for a little bit longer, but I'll hold off on that update a little bit later on in the podcast. But for now, we will start with knitting talk. I actually knit an entire project since the last time that I podcast, which is a little bit crazy to think about, that I actually knit an entire project, which, who am I? I really haven't been having a lot of knitting energy lately. I've been needing distractions in other ways, so I've been playing The Sims a lot, and I've been reading a lot, and just doing some other things that were disengaging my brain a little bit more than knitting was. I needed a little bit more disengagement in that. And I also wanted to be a little bit more in tune and connected with like what's going on with the kids and paying attention to that, as well as my body and needing to rest more than I'm used to. And I think I'm finally kind of starting to get into a rhythm with all of that, which is very nice. Very nice to kind of start to fall into some sort of a rhythm. But I do have a finished object. In my last podcast, I believe I mentioned that a friend of mine gifted me like 6 skeins of yarn, which was crazy and so generous. And so I decided that as a thank you, I would knit her a shawl. She is a American Sign Language interpreter in a school district near where we live, and she used to knit a lot, but the sign language and the way that she's constantly using her hands, it makes knitting more difficult for her because, her hands are tired at the end of the day. So she hasn't knit a lot in a while. So she gifted me all of this yarn, and I thought that I would knit something for her. So I will show you what I knit. I knit her a shawl out of some of the very beautiful yarn that she gifted me. This is not blocked. This is like my caveat with everything. I don't have a good space in this apartment to block things. So I have like 3 projects that are in need of blocking, but I just don't really have a good amount of space to do it. This is no exception, and I think I need to just figure out a way to do it, because I would like to give this to her sooner rather than later, so I don't necessarily want to have to wait until I have more space. But this is the Wick shawl by Helen Stewart. I'm going to show you that shawl now. So there it is. I just put the yarn away, which I realized was really dumb because I don't know what colorways are or anything like that. This first colorway is like a purple tonal. And that actually did not have a tag on it. So I don't know who the dyer was or a colorway name or anything like that. So I'm not sure what to tell you this is. This pinky color, which is actually very sparkly. I'm not sure if that's going to pick up on camera. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see the sparkles. This is from Posh yarn. It's actually a lace weight that I held double to get a fingering weight because I wanted to use this color. This was one of the colors that she had given me that she said that she really liked, and so I wanted to use that. But it was lace weight, so I just held it double, and it worked fine. Like, it was not a problem holding it double. And I don't know what the colorway is. And then the last one is this really pretty purpley blue. And that is from Dream in Color, I believe. And it's a cashmere base. So, yeah. This is the shawl for my friend, and it's already really quite large. So blocking it, I know, is gonna make it like that much bigger, but I think it'll be a really nice like big shawl to just kind of like wrap up in when you're cold or however she wants to wear it. I think it'll work out really nicely for her. So I'm excited to give that to her. I think she'll really like it a lot. And I'm realizing as I didn't have the yarn for that or what the colors are or anything like that. I also forgot to grab my sock blocker to show you my half finished object that I have. So this is not on a sock blocker, but I don't think it's gonna matter too much. So that's my finished object. I just finished casting that off. I think it was Friday I finished casting that off. And then I haven't cast on anything new because I was working on just this pair of socks. It's not quite a vanilla sock. I really this year have been enjoying like using up leftover yarn, knitting up with scraps and things like that. That's been something that's been really satisfying for me. And so I haven't really purchased much yarn myself. I've only really technically purchased like half of a skein of yarn because I had a gift card to my local yarn shop that I had been given for Christmas. And I took it there and I got 2 skeins of yarn, but I only ended up paying like $15 total. So I'm saying I bought a half a skein of yarn because I didn't have to pay in full. All the other yarn that I've received this year has been gifted to me. And I've been using a lot of just yarn that I have from stash and scraps and things like that. So these socks are using some leftovers from another pair of socks that I knit earlier in the year. And I wanted to use it up. So I decided to make shorties, but I wanted to try like a ribbing around like the arch of the foot. Because sometimes with hand knit shorty socks, for me, they can slide a little bit because there's not enough leg to kind of hold up. And I wanted to give this a try and see. So this is just kind of a pattern that I've cobbled together from various socks that I have knit myself over the years. So there is no set pattern for this, but I'll kind of try to explain to you what I did. So this is the sock. And it is a shorty. It comes up just over my ankle bone, which I like no-show socks a lot as well, but I find that with hand knit socks, because you don't get quite the same elasticity that you get from like a store-bought sock, I can't really wear them that low because they get caught in my shoe and like slide down. So they need to be a little bit higher when they're a hand knit sock. So this is okay. But I did a shorter cuff. It's 10 rows of a 1x1 twisted rib for the cuff. And then the leg itself is obviously very short. It's 15 rounds. I think it's 15 rounds. I'll have to count and double check when I do the next sock. I think it's 15 rounds. And then I did a heel flap and gusset for the heel. And I did a heel flap and gusset instead of a fish lips kiss heel because of this ribbing, because I wanted the end of the gusset really kind of marks where that ribbing should be for me on my foot. So I did, you know, finish that, and then I knit 2 rounds of just stockinette without the decreases, and then I started the ribbing for this arch. Now this is actually color work, which makes it kind of tight. I think I may want to try this again and not use a contrast color in there. But I liked the contrast color because I think it just gives the sock a little bit of interest. So the contrasting color is the knit stitch, and then the main body is the purl stitch. So it's just a knit 1, purl 1. It's not twisted, it's just a straight rib. And I did that for 15 rounds to get the length that I wanted. So I just knit the rest of the length and then did a rounded toe. For anyone else that wants to try this, you may want to adjust the length of the ribbing that you knit based on the size of your foot. This is what works for me for my feet. My feet are pretty small, so this is how it works for me. Yours may be a little bit different. I don't know for sure like how to determine where you would want to start and finish it. But that's what I did for my women's size 6 foot. But yeah, so this is the sock that I knit. I just finished the Kitchener like before I decided to record this because I wanted to show this sock and I needed to Kitchener it, and I was like, I just need to take a few minutes and Kitchener this toe before I record, because otherwise I'm gonna be like, I have to Kitchener this, and I didn't just take the time to do it. But I did. I took the time to do it, so I have a finished object literally like minutes ago. So that has been the knitting. So obviously next I'll be casting on the second sock for that, and I believe the last sock in Helen Stewart's Handmade Sock Society came out, was that this past week or the week before? I don't recall, but I think that's what I'm going to knit next. And I think for that I may have it be a gift knit and not keep it for myself. I haven't decided yet, but I have so many hand knit socks that I don't really need more for myself, but I like knitting myself socks. So I probably should be considering gifting some more. Abby likes to come in and steal my socks, so that's kind of been my justification for knitting them for myself, because we wear like the same size shoe. But I should probably consider some gift knits. I might knit these and give them to my aunt. She goes to Florida in the winter, so I don't know how much she's gonna need wool socks, but that might be my plan for what to do with them. My mom doesn't really like wool socks a whole lot, so I don't know that knitting for her is the right thing to do. I don't know. I don't really know who I would knit gift knit socks for. Anyway, I'm rambling about knitting at this point. So that's kind of the plan of what's gonna come next on my projects. I do want to knit myself a color work sweater, and I'm thinking that after we get moved, which I'll be talking more about very soon, I think I'll start that project then. I don't want to try to start it beforehand because it's just going to get really chaotic really soon, and trying to knit a color work sweater doesn't seem like the wisest decision. So I think that's going to be my plan. That's all I have for the knitting content. If that's all that you're interested in, that's completely fine. I understand. Feel free to end the video here. Thank you for coming and chatting about knitting with me. I appreciate it. If you are interested more in what's been going on with us from a life perspective, please feel free to stick around and I will update you on all of that. So what has been going on with us here in our life? If you recall from the last podcast, I bought a house and the offer got accepted and everything has been going really well with all of that. The appraisal went through last week and it looks like we're going to be closing on our house on July 30th. So I am so excited. We're all really excited to get out of this apartment. And we always intended the apartment to be like a temporary stop, but it feels really good to know that we're actually going to be able to get out of here. So I'm really excited about that. The kids are really excited. Yeah, it'll be really good. So we close on July 30th. We don't have to be out of here until September 7th. So that gives us like a whole month where we can get things ready at the house, get things packed up, get moved, come back and clean up here, and not have it be super rushed. That being said, I know that it'll still be completely crazy and chaotic because anytime you move, it's crazy and chaotic. But at least it will keep it from being really rushed, which I like. I like that. I don't foresee packing back up being a particularly large challenge. We didn't unpack a lot of things when we moved because the hope was always that we would be moving again soon. So we left a lot of things in boxes. I'm thinking that I would like to move the third week of August. Abby, because of the way things work with her dad, she's going to be at her dad's for the next 2 weeks. And then when she comes back, the first week she's back is band camp for marching band, which means she's going to be gone from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. the whole week. So she's not going to be able to pack. So I figure the third week, she will have the second week of August that she can be working on packing. She'll still have marching band rehearsals in the evening, and I don't know for sure if diving will have started yet. So that will give her time that she can get packed. And then if we move the third week, that gives us and them like a couple of weeks to get unpacked before school starts. School actually starts on September 7th. So I think timing-wise, that makes the most sense. That's what I'm going to aim for. Hopefully that all works out. So far, everything has been going really smoothly. I feel so blessed by how all of this has gone. It just really has come together really better than I could have expected. So that's been really good. And with a year that has been full of unbelievable loss and grief, to have this that I can kind of hold on to has really kind of kept me going forward. I have always felt like everything would work out somehow in the end. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I always felt like it was going to, and it is finally starting to come together. My health still continues to be an issue and a struggle. I am now working with a cardiologist with some of the things going on with my heart and my heart rate. I did have a stress test last week, and that was very difficult for me to do, which is very frustrating as somebody who ran before to not even like I made it 5 minutes on the treadmill for the stress test before my heart rate was like above where it was supposed to be. Did not take very long, and I was so tired afterwards and so weak that was really, really discouraging. And not like you're out of shape tired, like I'm exhausted. I felt more tired after that 5 minutes on the treadmill than I felt after I ran a half marathon, to kind of give you an idea. So we're still dealing with all of that, but that being said, I feel like I've kind of found a good rhythm to my days to kind of accommodate that. I know that I need to go in and lay down and rest. I need to give myself that time and that space and allow myself to do that. If I don't, I'm like hitting a wall at like 6 p.m., which is when, you know, a lot of times the kids are ready to like settle in on the couch after dinner and watch something, and it makes dinner really difficult if I don't do that. So I'm finding that rhythm, and while it is frustrating because I want my old body back, it's working better. Like I'm finding peace with where I am right now. Not abandoning hope, but finding peace at the same time. So that's where we're at, and definitely being able to have our own place and something permanent definitely adds a very big degree of peace to all of that. So that's really what's been going on. There's been a lot of things preparing for, moving and, all of the things that you need to do to get ready to do that. It's a lot, and we'll be packing up again pretty soon. I want to say that I will be back to record again in 2 weeks. We will have closed at that point, and I can update you on how all of that went, and maybe I will know for sure when exactly I'll be moving then. So yeah, good things are happening. Things are moving in the right direction and moving forward, and I feel like I'm getting to have a new chapter in my life. Like maybe we're going to enter into a new season, and it might not be exactly like the season I expected it to be, but we're going to go in with hope and optimism and encouragement for what the future is going to hold. So with that being said, I'm going to end this podcast right here. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching, and for those of you who keep coming back, thank you for coming back. I really do appreciate all your kind words of support and encouragement. It really does mean a lot to me, especially as I was really struggling through with a lot of the grief. It helped kind of inspire me and encourage me. So thank you so much for all of that. I do really appreciate it. I hope you are all well. I hope you're getting to enjoy some of your summer and get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated yet. That's really important to helping us end this pandemic. And keep knitting. Enjoy your families. If you're in a good relationship with them, enjoy the summer and the beautiful weather. If you are in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, enjoy the winter, I guess. I don't know. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.